Let's take a look.
I forgot now the first point you raised.
That's
before,
the Senate President's resignation. Resignation of the Senate President that you called for.
No. I did not call for the Senate President's resignation. I said, and I repeated it here now, that is the inferences people drew from what I said. I said, if you make a rule and you insist that a presiding officer, such as the Senate President, must have 8 years consecutively back-to-back to be eligible to contest for the office of the Senate President, I say, sir, with due respect, now that you are presiding, you have not done 8 consecutive years. You have only done, under those rules, strictly, you have only done less than 3 years. So if 8 years is a qualification, you have done only 3 years, because by the same amendment, the previous 4 years are irrelevant. They are expunged by the fact that there was interruption. So you can't count them according to those rules. And so if you need 8 consecutive years to be a presiding officer, sir, you have not done 8 years. So why are you presiding? I mean, that is what I said. Now, of course, people can interpret it the way they want, but it's about common sense, it's about reason, it's about logic. Just to question the morality of saying the qualification I have to get a job, that if you have that qualification, you cannot get the job. Why? If his predecessors, the former Senate President Ahmed Lawal, under his leadership, they had changed those rules. Because Ahmed Lawal has been in the Senate for quite some time, and even in the House of Rep. He could have made those rules, but he didn't make them for him to become the president of the Senate. David Ma didn't make those rules to become the president of the Senate. What you need is to have the support and the buy-in of your colleague. Simple. So I didn't call for his resignation. But if the law says you must do 8 years, then obviously he hasn't done 8 years. And if it's a constitutional requirement, a legal requirement, it's about the law. You can't breach the law in perpetuity. If you breach the law in error, the courts are obliged to correct the error. That is the point. Now, as for the other issue about the Electoral Act, I think people look at just one item and they didn't look at the others. First, let me speak to the word that, although you didn't amplify, you just spoke in general terms about the Electoral Act. I think the one that people are worried about is about transmission of result to IRF real time. Now, real time, you check the definition. I think my dancing friend and colleague there, Rufai always talk about empirical evidence. Now, what is the definition by any dictionary of reference or Google of real time? It means immediately. Now, the truth of the matter is, intentions are good, but they are not enough. You must have an environment that will allow those intentions to flourish. As it stands today, there are occasions, even in areas where you have services, for some technical problem, you find that there's no service until they are rectified. And so, if you cast a vote and you finish, and it is counted, and they are recorded in the beavers, and you press to send, and it doesn't go because there is no signal in that particular locality, and you have to move from there to the nearest area where you probably find signal. That is no longer real time. And if it is a law, lawyers and judges will have a field day, try to define and interpret the meaning of real time. And if they hold the view that real time means now, it doesn't mean 10 minutes away. It doesn't mean moving from one location to the other. Automatically, the entire electoral process in the country will be in jeopardy. That is the issue of that. But let me tell you, the issue should not amplify. We have now said before, if the electoral officer manipulates or beyond his control, you have a situation in which the beavers is not working, before you can use other means to accredit. If you've done everything and it's not working. Now, under the amended act, if anyone out of mischief or for really technical reasons the beavers is not functioning, you cannot use incident form. What the law now say is that if it doesn't function that day, you will have to change the beavers. If you can't change it, the following day, you must bring another beavers and the election continues before the votes will be declared. Read it. This is to make it mandatory to cure the mischief of people saying a beavers is not working or all the beavers simply failed and therefore we use incident forms and then throw out bogus figures. Even people who are there will come back to vote. Sir, you know, whatever you want to say, I fought against election rigging. I launched one man, one vote campaign as a city governor because I didn't want another Nigerian to go through what I went through in 2007 when PDP under the policy of do or die completely rigged me out. I have to go through the judicial process and evaluate. That was the era in which the late Augusta Ikomu was alleged to have voted 4 times because his name was accredited. Now, those mischief has been cured by this amendment. There are a couple of other things that have been done. So, focusing on one thing is not fair enough.
Senator.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you see, I'm happy we have started on a good note. But you know, we'll normally have our fights, and we're never going to stop fighting because we are fighting for a better Nigeria. Senator, all these things you said, it's not that people are just talking. Your fellow Senator Ireti Kingibe alleged that the Electoral Act was altered behind the scene, claiming that the version signed into law is a fraudulent departure for what the stakeholders agreed upon. And I can go through a litany of many other issues because there's no time. Time will not permit us. Is it the issue of removing certificate forgery as a ground for election? Is it restricted judicial review, section 88? You know, is it elite capture in primaries that people are talking about? Is it financial barriers for grassroots? I mean, there are many issues like that. So we can go over all of them. But I want to ask you one critical question.
That is not correct. With due respect, Rufai, you asked for empirical evidence. Read the section of the Electoral Act that say all of those things that you read out. Those are speculations. They are untruth. And the thinking can't proceed with that.
No, but what happened?
If you wanted to do that,
what happened to
just like I did on this issue? You should have rise up and speak to the.
Hang on a minute.
So-called doctor. How can anybody talk to Electoral Act?
Wait.
How?
Wait. What happened to Section 138? That removed presentation of forged certificate as a valid ground to challenge an election in the tribunal. What happened to that? What happened to Section 138?
No, let me hear you again.
Section 138 that removed
that says
presentation of forged certificate as a valid ground to challenge election results at the tribunal. What happened to that? What happened to that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still have another question. Let me add another question.
No, you can add. Let's take them one by one.
Let me add the second question because of time.
Igbo man say, hurry the tear trouser. So
no, it's not the tear trouser. Make I ask my question.
But if you insist, you can proceed.
Good. The second question I want to ask you is, in reacting to the issue in South Africa, you said they should nationalize MTN and DSTV. Is it that you forgot that they are Nigerian shareholders?
In fact, I remember there are even more that should be done.
Wait, is it that you forget that they are Nigerian shareholders in DSTV and MTN?
Yes.
So they should nationalize the shares owned by Nigerians there too, right? Is that what you are saying?
Can I answer?
Go ahead.
I answer you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, what I said is, I am aware that MTN is quoted. And therefore, Nigerian shareholders can hold on, but we take away the South African rights. And because of the issue, I'm not sure of the legal status, that's why I say you nationalize and then you privatize it so that Nigerians can take it over and the profit they are taking out of Nigeria will be retained here. There will be no South African share in it. The same goes for the other bank, RBCTH. There are quite a number of them like that. And Rufai, I am happy that after I made the point that the president of South Africa is a major shareholder in MTN. And as of the time I spoke, he has found it very convenient to keep quiet. I am also aware that during the campaign of President Ramaphosa for election to the office of president in South Africa, he made the issue that foreigners were doing the jobs of South Africans. Now the South Africans are hungry. there is no employment and so on, and they have transferred aggression against black people. So I said, when you hit Ramaphosa as president, you touch his economic interests in Nigeria, he will speak out. And call your colleagues in South Africa. Okay. They will tell you after they watch what I said on the floor of the Nigeria Senate. Thereafter, President Ramaphosa came out clearly to condemn the attack on black people. He didn't do so until I threatened his interest. Yeah. But if you ask me, allow me, excuse me.
Hang on, let me finish. When you ask, I beg you. But it's the same government that is saying they want investors. So how does that sound like when you can arbitrarily nationalize people's shares when they come to invest in your country and you want foreign direct investments? So if Nigerians have chaos with any citizen of any country, they nationalize their shares. That's how Adams Oshiomhole sees things, right? We just nationalize people's shares like that.
No. Now, what I want...
That's what you're saying.
Rufai, sorry, not Rufai. Rufai,
go ahead.
You place more weight on wealth than the life of human beings. If anything leads to the death of Nigeria, what is the value of wealth to the dead? If it is your own value system, that investment is more important than the life of Nigerians that are being wasted and killed in South Africa, and the government is not on record as having convicted anybody to prison. And I know that those in government in South Africa are making money from Nigeria economy and cutting away that money to South Africa. Now, in my judgment, and this is a matter of value judgment, in my judgment, life is more important. We don't want investors who invest at the expense of human blood. If you need Nigeria blood to service and you do not care about Nigeria human blood because you want to attract investors, I will say, even in my poverty, I value my life. Okay. If in your own case, you value investment, etc. But you are wrong. You are wrong to say if we... Wait. No. Yes.
Mr. Oshiomhole, why don't we nationalize the wealth of all Nigerians rich men because people are dying in the north? Okay. How does that argument sound? Why don't we nationalize the wealth of all Nigerian rich men because people are dying in the north and we've not been able to solve insecurity?
Senator,
let's start by that.
Before we go.
All right.
Senator, please, let me ask you this question.
That's your problem.
About nationalization. Even Starmer.
No, you can't ask 4 questions with the answer. No, you are not talking to a deaf man. You have 3 questions you have not allowed me to answer.
Okay, go ahead, please.
You have obligation to listen to the person you have dragged out to come and question.
Senator Adams,
now,
please go ahead.
Rufai, this is to you. Rufai, this is to you.
Yes.
This is to you.
Yes.
Please go ahead and nationalize. That is not my problem. I do not belong to the excessive free market people. But you are comparing like with your like. But I ask you the question, Rufai, is human economy wealth or foreign investor, foreign dollar more important than the life of a Nigerian? Answer the question. When a country, for the first time, they kill Nigerians, they got away with it. Second time, they riot, they kill Nigerians, they got away with it. Third time, they kill Nigerians, they got away with it. Under Buhari, there was an agreement. They broke it, they are killing Nigeria. Nobody is in prison for murder, extrajudicial murder. You are talking about law. Is there no law protecting the life of foreigners who live in your country? Even if they were there illegally, there are legal ways to repatriate them, to deport them. Excuse me, what is money to the dead? If you are a slave of wealth, if you are a slave of foreign investor, even if that investor is blood-soaked and he feeds on Nigerian blood, and you are happy with that because you want the dollar by all means, Rufai, you and I, we do not belong to the same school, and we do not share the same value system. Money is not everything for me. Whatever you want to, if you want to trivialize it and compare like with your like, compare banana with oranges, it's your choice. But I am clear, Nigerians know where I stand. And I'm happy that Nigerians in South Africa, they are happy that somebody spoke for them. And even the South African president, after I spoke, and I accused him of doing nothing, and that he will go on his knees to beg, when we hit him, he has made a broadcast condemning the attack, which he didn't do before I said it. So Rufai, I have no regret whatsoever.
All right, Senator, thank you so much for your time with us.
Hold on. Senator, no. Senator, I wanted to ask you, this talk about nationalization is immaterial because even in the UK, Starmer is talking about nationalizing. Let me ask you about politics.
All
now,
right.
let me put it clear.
Okay.
What
We have to go. I'm so sorry, sir. We're out of time.
It's not just to nationalize.
Thank you so much.
When
Senator
you take
Adams,
it out from there, you
Senator
sell
Adams,
it and privatize.
thank you so very much for your
This
time
thing
with us
has ended
today.
up as a shouting match now.
We are so sorry
We have
for
not
the
had a
time
quality
that has been
conversation.
taken. So sorry about that, Dr.
We just
Basi.
wasted time.
We'll take a short...